A huge big thank you for all of you turning out here. I'm just going to say a few words, not a big long speech, you'll be pleased to know, but I want to first of all thank Donna. Where is she? Oh, there she is. For, it was her idea that Unite should donate this particular bench, and I want to thank her for caring. It was a lovely thought. It's a fantastic idea. Workers' Memorial Day, of course, is being remembered right throughout the world. The theme everywhere throughout the world today is to remember the dead, but to fight for the living. And that's something that is critically important for all trade unions, and perhaps in particular Unite. The Health and Safety at Work Act was an act passed by a Labour government in 1974, and the result of that act meant that tens of thousands of ordinary workers' lives were saved. Prior to that act, that's what used to happen every year. Tens of thousands of workers would lose their lives going to work. And you can just imagine the sorrow that caused then and causes still today. Individuals kissing their loved ones goodbye as they go to work, never ever to see them again. And the vast majority of those deaths were caused by employers who cut corners and don't follow procedures properly. So that was a fantastic act introduced by a Labour government. Of course, ever since then, consecutive Tory governments have attempted to cut down and chop away at the provisions within that act. That's what the Tories do, and that's the difference between Labour and the Conservative. The Labour Party, Labour has always seen health and safety as a priority within our workplaces, whereas the Tories see it as nothing more than red tape and a burden on business. In fact, the Prime Minister has been reported on a number of occasions of saying that he intends to kill off the culture of health and safety at work. What a disgraceful statement for him to make. And that's why we need, as the saying goes, to keep fighting. This particular year, the theme is about hazardous substances. Hazardous substances and the exposure of workers at work, when that exposure can be prevented and is not necessary. The biggest exposure, of course, over the years has been to asbestosis, and the latest reported figures on the death of mesothelioma in one single year was 2,500 people, 2,535 people in 1 year died of this crippling disease called mesothelioma. I have had lots of experiences of this debilitating disease, and this was contracted by working people when the bosses knew of the danger of the substance. And of course, hazardous substances are still the biggest cause of deaths in our nation. 150 people died last year through accidents at work, most of them preventable. In fact, not far from here, a Slovakian worker, Reni Techika, died working on Crossrail, 44 years of age, over here working, sending money home so that his daughter Esther could go to university, crushed to death by a ton of cement which wasn't properly secured. I'll tell you what will happen with that. The result of that will be the employer will be fined a few £100s. I was involved in a case in the Olympics when it was being built. A young Polish lad, 21 years of age, fell to his death, and the firm, because they hadn't protected a particular pothole by where he was working, was fined £500, while his family at home were told that this young lad's life had been snatched away. There are over 700,000 injuries at work every single year. Tens of thousands of them are serious injuries which cripple working people and put enormous pressure not only on them as individuals but their families. And I'm delighted that Unite is at the forefront of fighting, along with our sister unions, UCAT and the GMB in particular in the construction industry, but this is by no means limited to the construction industry. We're proud that we put health and safety right at the foreground of that. So that's why we're here, to remember the dead and to fight for the living, to make certain we've got 9 days now before we can kick this uncaring government out, and to make certain that we've got a government that is committed to fairness at work, committed to safety at work. That way we can prevent these shocking deaths and injuries that are preventable in the main, and make certain that families don't have to suffer. So a huge big thank you. You're joining literally hundreds of thousands of people throughout the world today who are remembering and raising our standards high to say that we will not allow health and safety to be pushed down the agenda. We will fight to make certain that there is justice in the workplace. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you. And I now declare the event open.